This is WPSL Port St. Lucie.
You're listening to WSTU Stewart.
Well, very pleasant good evening. Time for Startup Talk from Indian River State College and Mr. Tom Henry.
Welcome, everyone, to Startup Talk this evening. Greg, how are you this evening?
Doing okay. I'm just sitting here following our softball team.
Yes.
Which has won 14 straight.
Women's softball, 14 straight games.
Yep. 29-6 on the year, 10-0 in conference play. Not too shabby.
Unbelievable.
Baseball needs a little work.
Yeah.
They're 4-14 in the conference. But, hey, that's okay.
Well, that's all right.
Softball's off the charts.
Unbelievable. I got to get over and I have not seen a softball game this year.
I haven't caught one yet this year either.
I gotta get
together.
Okay, I gotta get my schedule. We the Brown Center, which is where we're right across the street, so we can see it out our window. And I need to make sure that I get across the street and see a game. I've got to watch that 10-0 women's softball at Indian River State College. Well, welcome to another segment and installment of Startup Talk. The show designed to assist and help Treasure and Research Coast residents who want to start, grow, or accelerate their business. And as I always say, what a great place it is to own and operate a business along the beautiful Research and Treasure Coast. We'll spend time during our hour this evening to highlight and create awareness regarding the very powerful and robust business assistance and support programs which exist right here in our community at our very own Indian River State College. I am Tom Kindred. I am the director for the Small Business Development Program here along the Treasure Coast, and our program tonight is sponsored by the Small Business Development Center at Indian River State College and our friends at Express Printing of Port St. Lucie. So, Greg, you've given us our – so we can now go directly into introducing our guest tonight.
A very familiar face.
We've had Dari on before. It is Miss Dari Bonner from Exact Healthcare Solutions, and her company operates in the medical coding arena. And incredible business and long relationship with Dari Bonner and Exact Healthcare. She is a CCTI instructor for us and in the area of medical coding. And before the show tonight, we were having conversations about the medical industry and healthcare industry and the coding area. And again, a lot of exciting news in the area of coding. So welcome to the show again tonight, Dari.
How are you doing?
Good.
Good.
But before we get to Dari, real quickly, let me just rattle off a couple of upcoming trainings. And Dari, you may tell us when the next.
She's probably got one of them.
She's got one of them.
At least.
That's right. We've got coming up. March is over. Last day of March today, so there's nothing left on the March calendar. But we do have Advanced Excel coming up on the Fort Pierce main campus coming up on April the 5th. That's a couple of night course, so good course. Focuses on tables, pivot tables, macros, formulas, functions to perform calculations, cell data. So excellent course coming up on April the 5th. We've got in the cloud, understanding cloud computing, which of course is becoming a big issue today for businesses. That's going to be down on the Chastain campus, again beginning April the 5th, Tuesday evening. You may have heard the term "it's in the cloud," but really have no idea what that means or how that impacts your business. Cloud computing means that instead of the computer hardware and software you're using sitting on your desktop or somewhere inside your company's network, it's provided for you as a service by another company. So excellent new training for CCTI coming up. What's in the cloud? Understanding cloud computing. And then one of our standby courses, Fast Track to Facebook, Business Mastery. So a Facebook class, that's coming up on the Mueller campus up in Vero on April the 5th. So excellent course for those that want to begin to get engaged in social media. And then we have an SBDC and SCORE program coming up down at the Moorgate Library on April the 6th. How to start a small business. So you've been considering starting your own small business but unsure of where to begin. Don't miss out on this workshop. And I think finally, financial record keeping for your small business, again, down on the Chastain campus on April the 12th. So again, got some great trainings coming up. Beginning in April through the CCTI and through SCORE and SBDC. And as I always like to tell folks, again, back when I was in business, if I had taken the time to become engaged in and participate in the business assistance programs offered here at Indian River State College, I'm confident that I could have been a better manager, owner, and operator. The college and its president, Dr. Massey, and the Board of Trustees have done an incredible job of building what I always tell folks is a very powerful one-stop shop for business assistance and support through the Dan K. Richardson Entrepreneurship Development Institute. The EDI, as we call it, is made up of the Small Business Development Center, the Business Incubation Program, and the Small Business Development Center. So you can get more information on all those entities and programs and trainings by visiting that IRSCbiz.com site. And I promise you, if you click on that events calendar, you will be impressed at what's going on.
Interesting stuff. You're talking about cloud computing and stuff like that.
Correct.
The television and radio networks are experimenting. We've got a weekend coming up where we will drift from our satellite signal to a stream. And CBS, obviously, because they're so cheap, they're going to probably be the first to.
Right.
And really, because satellite is very expensive. And no matter how you slice and dice it, it's $500 an hour. So, you get rid of a cost like that.
Right.
And if you could just stream rather than send it up on the bird.
Right.
And there's also other stuff that's coming down security-wise with the television networks that some of the SATCOMs have been moved a little bit. Right. We're not going to get into that in this show, but that's so they're going to get into a lot of the streaming aspect and get away from satellites.
Well,
next couple of years,
right?
That's
it's coming.
Yeah.
I with all the stories you hear about cloud computing, I always worry about it. But I'm old school, so everybody's now throwing all their photographs up in the cloud and all their, I thought when everybody was carrying around the flash drives, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now nobody even has flash drives anymore.
That's real old school.
Yeah. Right. So, So anyway, it's coming. And again, that's what I like about CCTI. That's what I like about the Entrepreneurship Development Institute. We're on top of those things at the college. And again, we've talked about it before, but Dr. Massey's one of those people that really, has vision, can look out,
cutting edge.
We're always a little ahead. We're looking at what the jobs are going to be, 10 years from now, and we're building towards those. So, and again, in tonight's conversation about medical coding is one of those issues. We were, really kind of out ahead of this whole thing, and Dari can kind of talk about that. But yeah, that's, so now all of a sudden we're offering cloud computing courses that, even when we started this show, a year ago, we didn't have that. We didn't offer that course. So that's a new course that's being offered. So I always been impressed with CCTI and the offerings and how they're staying kind of ahead of the one step ahead too out there in the business community. And I just can't stress enough, for folks to go get engaged in the programs. We met today. We had a meeting today with our regional SBA officer from the Small Business Administration, and we had a conversation today about really, just still some of these programs are the best kept secret in our community. And we were talking to Dari again even about the coding courses and what's going on with that. Still some of the best kept secrets. And we got to get the word out on these programs because they are excellent, they are meaningful, and there's real value there for the local business community.
Well, we could move Dari's courses into the gym. I mean, there might be some room if the classes keep expanding the way they are,
Well, with that, we'll get to Dari. Again, Dari Bonner's, it's been a great relationship with Dari and her company, Exact Healthcare Solutions. And it started probably a couple of years ago, I guess, Dari. You came in the building and so give us a little background on yourself and a background on Exact Healthcare Solutions.
I went into business in 2008. I'm going to reiterate, kind of a crazy time to go into business for yourself.
Perfect time.
Yeah, perfect.
The economy takes a nosedive, and you go, hey, I'll start a business. What the heck? And ended up starting a business consulting, had worked for a lot of large firms nationwide, and kind of wanted to go local and start my own thing because, like you're talking about, getting your education and things like that are really important. So I thought if we did some local things that we would be able to have a little bit more control over some of the things that we knew were coming up. And we've been in business 8 years, very successful. The first couple of years, we were more national than we were local, but we have developed a presence in the local community. Ironically, talking about the Small Business Development Center, when we first started our business, we came to IRSC, and I have to be upfront with you, I didn't know anything about CCTI. And the Small Business Development Center sent me to Bob at CCTI and interested in coding and things like that, and that's how we got started actually doing coding classes through the Corporate Training Institute, where people were able to get trained to become certified in a short amount of time. So it was a perfect time for us to do that because of the changes that were taking place with the Affordable Care Act and things like that. But we have gotten some local business and some local exposure, like Greg was talking about. Our classes we started out with 4 or 5 people a class. We're up to an average of 18 to 25 people a class. It's just been fantastic.
That's great.
Absolutely phenomenal. And it's great to work in the local community to be able to advance that. And like you said, the opportunities are just amazing. I go to a lot of those training sessions myself still for the Small Business Development Center. They're great programs.
Well, not only, you're a trainer, you're involved in coding, but you also are an owner and operator of a small business, Exact Healthcare Solutions. So again, it's nice that you recognize the value of the whole program too. So and again, you've gotten the opportunity to see it from both sides.
We have.
Trainer and a participant. So you've been on the show before. We've talked about medical coding. And again, our show, as we always talk about, is kind of dedicated to entrepreneurship, creating business, helping business. So really this whole coding, and you just touched on it, the Affordable Care Act kind of brought this issue kind of to the forefront. So kind of update us where we are now with medical coding as a profession and as a business. Where are we with it?
Where we are is the recognition in the past before the Affordable Care Act, particularly in the outpatient side, which is what we focus on more than anything, and professional, which is the physician practice. There was a bigger focus on the billing and the revenue cycle and things like that. With the Affordable Care Act and a new coding system that came out, which is diagnosis coding, it basically took a leap. And doctors when you just to let you know, when you're a patient, we're all patients. And so when you're a patient, you go into a doctor's office. Medical coding is basically taking what a doctor puts in a record and putting numbers to it so it can go on a bill and it can go to the insurance company. That in mind, there hasn't been a whole lot of emphasis in physician coding in the past, but the Affordable Care Act kind of brought that around. People started recognizing it more. There was a new coding system that was supposed to come out 3 years ago. Every year it kept getting delayed. This past year it finally came through, October 1st of 2015. This new coding system came out. Now doctors are begging for help. A lot of hospitals got rid of their coders, and they became basically contract coders, and they hired contractors to do the work. And so it's been wonderful for our business because of the fact that now they're looking for certified coders, and actually you can work from home. If you go through a training program and you get nationally certified, as a coder you have to be certified. As a biller you don't have to be. But there's just a lot of changes in the industry. The good thing about the changes is y'all are talking about the changes in radio and TV, and the only constant in medical coding and billing is change. And so there's a lot of new things coming up this year as well. Medicare, even on the billing side, the way that they pay providers is going to change drastically. Auditing has become a very big field as well, which a lot of auditing has to do with coding and billing and having that kind of background and that structure to where we've become a very valuable commodity since the Affordable Care Act. And every year things change. Actually, They almost change monthly.
So with the Medicare changes, does that help your business?
It does tremendously, and especially in Florida. We don't have to say that a large majority of our population is Medicare, but we also forget Medicaid, which is a huge change as well. Medicare and Medicaid are entities that work together in the healthcare industry. So anything that changes with those two entities, really most everybody follows suit because they're federal entities and they're the largest. And they create a lot of the regulations. So right when we learn something, we have to learn something else next week because when we get it, they change it. So it's a constant learning curve, but very, very fascinating. If you like change, it's a great field to be in, an opportunity.
Well, and again, so for those folks that and again, it takes a little while to kind of get your head around all this medical coding. But what, in layman's terms, really, medical coders are for the doctor's office is basically their main source of receivables for income.
Yep.
So the coders are creating the bills that get reimbursed by insurance.
Right.
So this is critical for a doctor's office. This is this is how they get paid.
This is how they get paid, and also with the regulatory requirements, it's how they get trained on complying with not just billing but also coding guidelines, medical record documentation, what a doctor puts on paper that then becomes a code, that then becomes a bill that you then get paid for. Okay. So it's so much bigger now than finance and how you get paid. You also have to comply with new regulatory statutes that come out.
Yeah, and just looking at like what I would normally get for a blood test, each one of those little things is
a
got
code.
a separate
code.
code.
That's right.
And if the doctor messes it up, it's chaos.
Well, if he messes it up, he gets probably rejected, kicked back. Then you've got to fix it. Then you've got to resubmit it.
Yeah.
Right. So again, now how long have you been at the college teaching the medical coding classes? How long have you been involved in all this?
2 years.
2 years.
2 years.
And you've probably a rough idea. How many students have you pushed through the program?
I'd say probably 125.
Okay. So 125 scratches the surface probably of what the need is?
It does. It does. The need is tremendous. And again, a lot of that due to the fact that a lot of hospitals got rid of coders, and now these outsourced companies are desperate. We have a lot of local companies that require coders. We have attorneys that require coders. Expert witnessing. If a doctor has to go to court,
I never even thought about that.
We have training. We need trainers. We need educators, compliance officers. The people that take our classes are very broad in scope. They're clinical staff. Some of them are people that have never looked at coding in their entire lives. They're looking for a new career. And because of the fact that you can train people to become nationally certified, which is what CCTI's program is about, in a really short time, it's a 12-week course. You give them an opportunity to get certified on a national level so that they can compete in the market.
And these, you're talking about folks that can work their regular job while they don't have to leave their, so to speak, daytime job because the classes are on Saturdays. Mm-hmm. So basically you're seeing a lot of folks in your class, like you said, looking to maybe change careers, get a second career. You could even use coding. Are there opportunities out there to use coding to supplement your current job too? There are 40 coding jobs and 20-hour-a-week coding jobs, are there not?
There's 10-hour-a-week coding jobs. And the thing is
she's getting down to my level.
Yeah. The good thing is you can work 10 hours and probably do well enough that you wouldn't have to work more than that because the market is unbelievable. On a national level. And because of the fact, here's the biggest thing and why the market is so in need of coders. It's not just because of the Affordable Care Act. It's because when I started in this industry, I used to joke around that it was inpatient. That was the big coding arena. And so if you went to a medical record department at a hospital and you tried to get a coding job, they died or they retired in their job. They weren't leaving.
Right.
They made good money. And so there was a major focus. Well, when the push, only in the early 2000s did the push, in the late 1990s, did the push for outpatient coding come out. Well, now the push is outpatient. It's outpatient physician, it's outpatient hospital. You want to do as much outpatient to not have that cost to the patients. And so because of that, all of the inpatient people retired because of this new coding system. It changed drastically what they did. So the people that were the people, that wouldn't leave their jobs on inpatient now left. They're like, I'm not going to wait for this. A lot of doctors left, a lot of, people that just didn't understand it. And then we now say, us outpatient coders now go, it's our turn. Finally, we've been in the industry for a long time, but the recognition now on the outpatient side is tremendous, and the need on the inpatient side, because of this is the first mass influx of retirement that we've seen on that side as well. So all of those things have made it a very huge market.
How many other colleges or universities are involved in this?
Well, there's other colleges and education that does coding billing. I think it's ironic because, Tom, we've talked about before, what in the heck is the difference?
Right.
There's a tremendous difference between the two. So they teach them together. And so when you teach them together, it's almost impossible for you to have coders understand coding at the level of detail they need to.
Right.
And billers to understand billing. Coding and billing are two completely different functions.
So, and again, just to be clear on this, there are degrees in coding, right? You can get a 2-year degree in medical coding, and your program is a certification program, which allows an individual to obviously quicken the pace to get to the point where they can go out there and either start their business or work. And
differentiate. I think that's a great segue to make sure that you differentiate between the two. Those people who are coming out of high school or going into a career, or even people that are going back to school to get a 2 or 4 year degree, which a lot of people are doing now. It's the 2 and 4 year degrees that you would want to seek. For those people who have been in the industry for a long time, already have a nursing degree, already have people that are looking for a new career, those type of people are really the ones that the Corporate Training Institute, because you want to do it in a short amount of time.
Right.
Some people, don't want 2 years or 4 years dedicated to that. So IRSC and Corporate Training Institute offer all of that. It doesn't matter what age, if you're new to the industry, if you're wanting to get into a new career, all of those things are offered on both sides.
And, we've talked about, and the last time I think you were on the show, we had another great entrepreneur on with us, and we talked a little bit about, at the time, we talked about the EMRs, the electronic medical record, and all that was changing in the medical industry. And we talked an awful lot about, there's the movement in the medical field where you've got a lot of doctors that are, because of all the changes, because of all the new regulations, have decided to say, you know what, it's time for me to quit, or they've sold to larger, corporate, healthcare industries. But having the coder, we've talked about this, having the right staff and having the right coder makes life a little easier for the doctor, does it not? I mean, it can prolong some of these doctors' careers, because that's really where the nuts and bolts are. Is that a fair statement?
That's a fair statement. And even adding to that, a lot of people tell doctors they're not good business people. It's not that they're not good business people. It's that the rules change. I mean, it's like playing a game of chess. And the thing is as a coder, I can get you paid. I can make sure you don't get in trouble with legally. I can make sure you're complying. But you don't want me doing surgery for you 3 days a week. I mean, and that's what we've asked doctors to do.
Right. You could probably do that, too.
All right, with that, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and continue our conversation with Ms. Dari Bonner from Exact Healthcare Solutions and Medical Coding. Stay tuned. Do you own a small business in Martin County? If so, are you looking to expand, grow, or accelerate that business? Would you like the opportunity for training in the areas of management, supervision, social media, finance, marketing, or customer service? If the answer is yes, then you should apply to become part of the Martin County Business Accelerator Training Program. Sponsored by the Business Development Board of Martin County and Indian River State College, this program will provide business counseling, technical assistance, and training for small business owners. The program will consist of one class per week for 12 weeks, All courses being held in the evenings at Indian River State College's Martin County campus. Participants who successfully complete the course will be eligible to apply for a small business micro grant through the program. Do not miss this opportunity to expand, grow, and accelerate your business. For more information, contact the Business Development Board at 772-221-1380. The Business Accelerator Program, brought to you by Martin County, the Business Development Board of Martin County, and Indian River State College.
Express Printing of Port St. Lucie is proud to present Startup Talk from Indian River State College. You see, Express Printing in Kings Plaza in Port St. Lucie is a one-stop shop for entrepreneurs throughout the Treasure Coast. Whether you're starting a business or building one, folks at Express Printing can offer insight on how to separate you from your competition. Let Express Printing help you rebrand your business as well. The backbone of America is its entrepreneurial spirit, shared by Indian River State College and Express Printing on US 1 south of Prima Vista in Port St. Lucie. Express Printing, 878-7975. That's 878-7975. Express Printing, just south of Prima Vista on US 1. Look for the red sign that says, "We come to you."
You're listening to WSTU Stewart.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie.
And we are back. This is Startup Talk from Indian River State College and the Dan K. Richardson Entrepreneurship Development Institute. And tonight we have got our good friend, Dari Bonner from Exact Healthcare Solutions with us. Dari was with us probably, maybe a year ago. As we were getting very heavy into the medical coding field, and Dari's done a great job with a partnership with CCTI and teaching medical coding. Now, when you were here the last time, Dari, there was still two classes or systems. There was ICD 9, and so the big talk was that the industry was updating to ICD-10, and you mentioned earlier that had been talked about, and it was going to go through, but now you've said ICD-10 is a law? Is that they have to use ICD-10 now? Is that the new language?
They do. ICD-10's been around for a long time, since the early 2000s. So every country in the world had adopted it except for the United States.
Except for us. Right. I remember that.
It's written by the World Health Organization, so it's kind of like the equivalent of the United Nations in government.
Okay.
And except it's diagnosis coding. So the world has to know disease processes.
Okay.
And that's the big change. So we finally, the Affordable Care Act actually pushed it through because it became law. It wasn't an option anymore for the United States.
So it is now law. You must be using the ICD-10.
That's right.
So this is what we used to always talk about. So is part of the rush to the class now the need to understand and learn ICD-10? Is that part of what's driving this market now?
It is, especially for the experienced people, because even if I knew ICD-9 as a nurse or a doctor or a clinical staff or a clerk or a biller or whoever, I didn't know ICD-10. It was an upgrade. And this is, again, what pushed out a lot of the inpatient coders. ICD-10 affects doctors and outpatient only from the perspective of a diagnosis code. For inpatient, it's the entire way they do everything. Their procedure codes changed. Their diagnosis code changed. So a lot of coders just went, that's it. They didn't want to learn an entire new coding system. It drastically affected inpatient.
Right. Now, Dari, I gotta ask a question. It just kind of I thought about this. If the CCTI and Dari Bonner weren't teaching this, how would a doctor have gotten up to speed? I mean, where would they have gone? If it weren't for an entity like the Corporate and Community Training Institute, where did one go?
Well, you could hire people from outside of the state to come in and do a consulting job for you, right?
Okay.
And come in and see how you work and teach you from a training perspective. If you're a certified coder, you could go online.
So there were other options. I mean, you could have again found some training someplace, I guess, right?
You could have, but I think that locally it's better to have. Right. It's more cost effective for you to have a local program. That's the first thing. And the second thing is a lot of people, when you get on the online, as far as some of the training and coding, it's extremely scripted. Like they read from a book.
Right.
And I don't know about you, but I'm not much for reading from a book. We dance and everything in class. So we try to make it interesting at least. If you don't make coding interesting, you're in big trouble.
Right.
And also don't really have the access to be able to tell how it's going to impact an individual provider practice.
Right.
So to train your own people and to do it locally and at something that's more cost effective is really the best way to go, I think. Or you could send your coding team, which those of us out there that are coders that work for a doctor's office know we're not the ones that get the Las Vegas trip once a year.
Right.
I don't play golf personally, so
don't start either.
Right.
Don't start.
What about the beginners who have taken the class, say? Can they be proficient at this enough to be working with hospital group or a doctor
what's the
group
success rate of your students, I guess? Is that a way to phrase your question? What's the success rate?
The success rate of passing the national certification exam, there's two success rates you would want to measure by. We don't follow their careers after they take the class. I mean, I do have to say that Exact Healthcare Solutions has stolen a couple of our previous students, which has been awesome. Okay. We have some people working on for our company now that are local, and it's wonderful. That have turned out to be fabulous coders and had that kind of training follow up in the industry. On the other side of that, though, our national certification passing ratio, and I'm gonna be as humble as I can here and say we say 98.5% because. Quite frankly, some people don't take the test.
Right.
They take it to learn and maybe not get nationally certified.
Right.
But in all reality, if you take it, you have a 100% passing ratio.
You're saying you've got a really good pass rate, Dari. Okay.
Well, we have a very good pass rate, and I do want to add that what the Corporate Training Center makes, what is very different about that class, is that we don't just teach you how to code. We then also follow that up by teaching you how to take those tests. Right. Doesn't matter which test you take. We have reviews that come free for all of our students and for life.
Right.
For the most part, we give them a lifetime free opportunity to take reviews to be able to take any of the national certification exams that are available.
And you mentioned something earlier, too, when we were talking before the show started. You talked about even having follow-up with students. They could call. You had I think, what'd you call them? You had some consultants that new coders could call for assistance and help. And,
right.
Right.
Well, and the good thing is you become successful in this business by networking.
Right.
And so everybody exchanges. I have 5 students in our class right now. We have a class going on at CCTI, and we have 5 students. I just may as well guarantee I'm not going to leave before 1:30. The class is until 1 o'clock. They sit there and they do the first 3 questions on homework together. It's amazing. We've got great pictures of them all working together. One of them's a biller. She's a full-time biller. One is a compliance officer at one of our local hospitals. So they work together to see if they can, and then they become friends after the fact, and they all call each other, the experienced ones, the not-so-experienced ones, and stay in touch with each other. And I think we're going to talk about some opportunities for CEU credits also. After you graduate, you get nationally certified, you have to maintain continuing education to be able to maintain your certification on an annual basis.
Right. So, again, and you may have answered this question a different way, but answer again for me. So, student graduates, passes the test, which we now know we've got some great pass rates out of your course. Where does that student potentially go? What are the channels that they could potentially take, the routes they can take into a career?
From our class, you can go into a doctor's office.
All right.
You could apply for a national contract coding company. A lot of them now will take even apprentices that get this certification for the first time because they're so desperate for coders. They're willing to train you and put you through a training program. We also have a lot of really excellent companies locally that a lot of people don't know about. McKesson is a national coding company.
Yeah.
They're right over off of US 1. They're in the Bank of America.
Yeah,
building.
they're Prima Vista and US One.
And Prima Vista and US One. So we have a lot of local opportunities from national companies that people don't even know about. General Electric's right over in near the airport in Melbourne. They have a main place there that there are opportunities for jobs, and you just have to know what area to go to. There's so many opportunities. We have a lot of local businesses that deal with nothing but compliance. That are compliance. I have one in my building actually for where Exact is. All they do is compliance and do compliance audits for healthcare. So there's a lot of opportunities even locally that even if you didn't get into a doctor's office, whatever the case may be. And I could use my daughter as an example. She took our class through CCTI.
Right.
She got certified nationally. She now works for a local doctor's office. And before that, she was working at Wet Seal as a manager. When they closed down in January last year, she got a job at an orthopedic doctor office.
Right.
So
Go figure.
Go figure.
Yeah.
And I don't think, obviously, healthcare is not going the other way.
No.
Whether the economy slows or the pace quickens, I think healthcare is going to continue to grow. And again, I guess especially in the state of Florida. I mean, we've got an aging population. We've got the baby boomers. I mean, all the same talk that we have about other business issues holds true in the healthcare industry.
And the Affordable Care Act has expanded that tremendously because of the fact of everybody having to get insurance. Everybody, it has to be right.
Yeah, there was I don't know the exact stat, but there was a statistic out there that talked about once the Affordable Care Act came online, there was this number of new folks that would be, insured, which would increase the
like
number. 16
million or something.
Yeah,
like
it was.
that,
Now all of a sudden, these 16 million people may go see a doctor because they've got health insurance.
Right.
So obviously, that increased traffic and revenue.
And it's increased a lot, too. We have a lot of doctors going concierge. We have a lot of physician practices locally, particularly developing their own ambulatory surgery centers, things like that. So even if you could go to a hospital, to one of the outpatient clinics or the emergency rooms or the urgent care centers, all of those areas you could get jobs. Again, doctors' offices now, since ICD-10 came through, are looking a lot more at staffing coders, medical coders to work in their offices. That was unheard of before ICD-10. They knew their codes by heart, and a lot of doctors have always believed they're expert coders with all the codes on their encounter forms. And with this change, it's like 250 codes for an ulcer, and by the way, there's a skin ulcer and there's a gastric ulcer, and there's a huge difference.
Right.
And so all of those things have really given outpatient coders a lot better opportunities and compliance as well.
And so when we're in a doctor's office, and of course all the high tech, even in our doctor's offices today, they're carrying around the iPads, they're carrying around the laptops. That's what they're doing as they're talking to you, as they're consulting with you. They're probably entering codes as they're consulting with you. That's what we're seeing them do.
That's what we're seeing them do. It's tied to their medical record, their electronic medical record. A lot of times the problem becomes which one of those codes. We have 3 huge books. ICD-10's only one.
I know you have books. I mean, I've carried those books to the classroom.
Yeah.
I have never seen books like that. I mean, that looks like you're going to law school or something up there.
It does. And, now doctors know how we felt. Before ICD-10, we knew a lot of codes. Those of us that were in the coding arena, we knew them by heart as well. And now you've got letters and numbers and all these things for I-10, and it's like, okay, now I'm just starting to get the first 3 digits. I've memorized a couple, but not that many.
Well, see, and you brought up the whole aspect, too, of the legal profession when you're talking expert witnesses.
Absolutely.
My goodness. I mean, here you go. I mean, that's yet a whole different type of feel. But CCTI offers these classes, though. I mean,
Right. Yeah, it really has. It's been a great partnership, and again, I think there's, there's, and it sounds like to me at this point, tomorrow morning, I'm going to tell Bob he's going to have to figure out a way to expand the classes, because obviously, if it is what we think it is, I mean, 18 students every quarter is not going to be enough. I mean, obviously, you could. There is the need to do more of those. I'm assuming there's a need for more classes.
There is, and we're I believe we're starting a new class mid-May, the end of May. We don't have it on the calendar yet,
Right.
but that's our other class ends the second week of May. And we have these continual classes. But also, we have to consider the fact that even aside from getting people certified, which is what those classes are for, getting more local coders that can work with the local doctors. The other side of that is we have to think about that continuing education, because doctors need that. Nurse practitioners need that.
Right.
Clinical staff, compliance officers, all of those people, in addition to the medical coders and the billers, need that type of support as well.
I was
for
just going to
CEUs.
ask you that. Do you offer the continuing ed?
We do, and we do, and this is also in collaboration with Indian River. Is we have a group that does CEU courses twice a year, where we offer all of your CEU credits within 2 seminars a year. And they're conferences that we've put together through a group called Premier Business Alliance, which is 4 local businesses that have gotten together, Eye Care Magazine, Exact Healthcare Solutions, the Hands Clinic, which is the only free nonprofit clinic in the area, and Clear SEM Solutions, which is a web designer locally. The 4 companies have come together, and we offer CEU credits and bring in nationally recognized speakers to come here, so that you don't have to go somewhere else to get your CEU credits after you graduate our classes. Right. And even if they're not certified, doctors, in fact, are the one coming up, and I know we're going to talk a little bit more about this. The one coming up, April 23rd, is dedicated to clinical documentation improvement, which is all physician, coders, billers, everybody understanding how to take a doctor's medical record and translate that into the codes that we're talking about and get CEUs at the same time.
So that's a good segue into what my next question was going to be. What about the upcoming Healthcare Education and Career Conference? We mentioned Saturday, April the 23rd, 8 to 4, going to be at the Kite Center on the main campus of Indian River State College right here in Fort Pierce. I had the opportunity last year to attend and participate in the conference last year. Pretty impressive, operation that day. There's a lot going on that day. So talk a little bit about the upcoming career conference.
So the career conference, we kind of changed again what we did last year a little bit, in that we wanted to not only offer CEU opportunities. We have CEUs approved, continuing education credits approved for nurses, approved for medical assistants. We're working on physical therapy and CMEs for doctors. And we continue to grow in the area of the types of certifications that we can offer CME credits for, CEUs. Coders, billers, compliance officers, office managers, anybody that staffs your office can generally get the 6 CEU credits for taking that series of classes that day. It's only one day, 6 CEU credits. You get free breakfast, free lunch, and it's only $95 for all of that, which if you took an online class, you can pay $250 to $350 just for an online one-hour course, $250 for one credit. Right. We give 6. And we have, actually, I'm one of the speakers, but the other speaker that we have coming she used to be part of one of our national organizations, one of the key developers of the American Academy of Professional Coders. A lot of people know who they are. Her name is Susan Thurston. She's a nurse, and she became a coder, and she does expert witnessing nationwide. She has an impeccable reputation, hysterically funny. She actually makes coding fun. And we have called her in to be a guest speaker, as well as Linda Hudson, who is
our mayor,
the mayor of Fort Pierce.
Correct.
And she's going to be doing a presentation on, the economic opportunities in the area. Right. Where we've expanded it this year, we had 2 conferences last year, very well attended, like you said. We decided after we do these, you're always looking for the next step of how you can help people locally. Right. Indian River State College has given us the opportunity, because we have another one coming up in September, to work with you in collaboration with you all to do these conferences. Not only do we give the CEU credits, but we're opening up for the first time to the public, and we have some vendors for local employers that are looking to hire people. And so we have what we call, now we're calling it the the health education and
Career. Well, I
conference.
noticed. Yeah, I did notice sort of the change in the name, Career Conference.
Yeah.
So really, again, this is an opportunity for people to come out almost like a job fair.
Absolutely.
Okay.
A resume, and that's free to the public, and it's free to anybody that wants to come to that. We have a lot of fantastic vendors that are going to be there that are all looking to hire, and in the healthcare arena, nursing, medical assistants, potentially coders. I can tell you that we're going to have a booth there, as are the other three companies that comprise the Premier Business Alliance, and we're all looking for. We've been very successful businesses, and we want to give back and having an opportunity to provide a career fair where people are able to be interviewed sort of on the spot, and in all areas of the healthcare industry.
Do the home care industries need coders as
They
well?
do. They home care, skilled nursing facilities, home health. There's a lot of changes going on at a federal level. Medicare is really, really focused on home health agencies. As a matter of fact, it's interesting you say that. VNA is going to be there, Visiting Nurses Association. A lot of home health agencies have agreed to come. And so we have a lot of opportunities for people to sit and to instead of us opening it up for selling business, we're opening it up more for people looking to employ the people that are coming to our classes.
So if one's been searching for a job or looking for a job in the medical field, I mean, this would be the day to come out. And that's free of charge.
That's free of charge.
That's just coming out and basically having the opportunity to potentially meet with those that may want to employ, hire coders, nurses, CMAs, medical assistants. So anyone in the healthcare field would be a good day to slip in there on Saturday.
It would be. And for the CEU credits, just to let everybody out there know, clinical documentation improvement, particularly as it relates to ICD-10 and the new requirements for providers to document appropriately, that's the theme of the conference for the CEU credits. So, again, for $95, breakfast and lunch, and 3 sessions, plus you get to meet with the mayor.
Right.
What an awesome opportunity and clinical documentation improvement is something that every clinical provider, because we give to nursing CEUs,
Right.
come and get them easy, come and get them local, don't have to get on a plane. We might consider a round of golf if somebody would play with me and show me how to play. I know
Oh, yeah.
golfers are real serious people.
Yeah,
so-
golfers are serious people. I used to be a golfer, but I gave up.
They were too serious, huh?
Yeah, they were way too serious.
Yeah,
way
too serious for me too.
Now the event also kind of serves as a fundraiser in so to speak for Hands Clinic.
It does. Hands has all of the conferences we've done in the past, the 2 in the past, and all of the ones that we do currently and in the future. Part of the proceeds are going to go to, actually half, will go to the Hands Clinic as far as a fundraising opportunity for them.
All right,
And
then,
they will be there as well. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sydney.
How do you get more information? How do folks figure out what's going on that day?
Our website is pbatc.org. And you can register right on the website. Right from the home page, it'll show you where to go to be able to sign up. Make sure that if you're previous students from our class, there's a little portion at the end of the registration page that says, who are you? If you're a previous student of one of our classes, you get a little bit of a discount. So, we kind of follow our students and open up the opportunity for them to get really, really simple CEU credits and maintain their certifications on an annual basis.
And real quick, just as we close in on that subject, talk to me just a second about the Premier Business Alliance. You've been very active with that group, and they're the main sponsor of this and have been the last. This is the 3rd annual that you've done of this?
Yeah, we do it twice a year now,
Okay.
and this is the 3rd event that we've had. Again, very, very well received. And the Premier Business Alliance, last year it used to be of the Treasure Coast. We
Right.
kind of got sick of saying it too. It was long. That was a
Too
long
long.
name.
Right.
So we've changed it to PBA. We do have sponsors for people in the community that work with us, but the main sponsors really are, and the main core of the group now consists of Exact Healthcare Solutions, Clear SEM Solutions, who actually, if you go on the Hands website, developed their website for them. Eye Care Magazine has been very instrumental. They're a local healthcare magazine dedicated just to healthcare in Stewart and Port St. Lucie.
Okay.
And the Hands Clinic, again, we've worked very close with Sydney to
She's the
do
best.
fundraising with her and to help continue to get the word out on hands and the great services that they offer to the local community.
And I guess, in closing too, how does one find out more about your medical coding course through CCTI? I guess they can always go to the IRSCbiz.com, look on the events calendar. That's how they register for the course, right?
That's how they register for the course.
But I guess how would they be free to call you or contact you? You could talk a little bit about coding if you.
They could, and we also have a list of the classes that we do on our website, exacthealthcaresolutions.com, and direct links for both registering for the PBA event as well as to get information on the classes that we teach and the classes we teach through CCTI.
I can give folks Bob O'Brien's cell
And
number,
Bob
too.
O'Brien. Right? Yeah, there you go. He'll
You
love
call
that.
him at 2 a.m. You know.
Right. And I guess at the end of the day, how have we been marketing the class? How have we let folks know that this is all part of what's going on? Just traditional marketing, like we're doing tonight on the radio, on the CCTI website. Are there any other channels that you use to let people know what's going on?
Really, and Eye Care Magazine also has been very instrumental because they're a local publication in helping get the word out. But I have to say that the Corporate Training Institute really did a great job of promoting the classes. I think that now the word is out.
Okay.
And they've been very successful and been filled because of that.
All right.
And people are starting to talk about it at the hospitals that are taking the classes and things like that.
All
So
right.
it's
Well,
word
good.
of mouth now.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Well, Dari, you've done an excellent job, and I again, on behalf of Bob O'Brien and the CCTI, I know it's been a very beneficial partnership. You've put a lot of people through the program. A lot of folks have jobs today in the medical field, in the medical coding field, because of what you've done and the work you've done with CCTI and providing these classes to the community. So I cannot say enough about your work. Third year for the healthcare education and career conference. I was again there last year, so it also an impressive event and a lot of folks there. So again, you've done some great work in our community, and I know CCTI is proud of the partnership and proud to be associated with Exact Healthcare Solutions, your company. So. Dari, thank you for what you do, and thank you for the partnership, and thank you for taking time out tonight.
And thank you all for the opportunity as well.
And let me remind everyone that all the business assistance programs and resources discussed on this segment are available through the IRSC Dan K. Richardson Entrepreneurial Development Institute, engaged at every stage of enterprise. For more information on the EDI, its programs, and a complete listing of upcoming business training events, you can always visit that IRSCbiz.com site. That's IRSCbiz.com. As always, I want to thank Greg and our partners here at WPSL, WSTU, WPSL TV. Thank you, Greg. And I want to thank the local SBDC at IRSC and Michelle Abaldo and her team at IRSC's Office of Institutional Advancement. And with that, we'll talk to you next week on Startup Talk.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie.
You're listening to WSTU Stewart.